The Plot and You deliver a serious, professional, very impressive live show for a couple of reasons, which I will get to in my review of their set later on. But first, I think it's important to set a bit of the scene of this gig. So this is, at the time of recording, about a week ago, because I've only regained most of my voice since then. It was in London's Camden Electric Ballroom, and it was a sold-out headline show along with Acres, who opened the night, and Invent Animate, who I was super excited to see because I'm also a big fan of theirs. Now, it was sold out, as I said, and people had a lot of interest in this gig in particular. The Plot and You seem to be going from strength to strength in the last year with their singles, which have been absolutely epic, especially the most recent one, which I absolutely loved. I think I gave that a masterpiece, and I stand by it. I stand by it. Amazing song. Luckily for me, they end up playing that later on in the evening, but we'll get to that. First up was a band called Acres, who I have seen live before once. They supported Resolve in Southampton earlier this year, and they do a good job. It was nice to see them on a larger stage. They didn't seem in any way daunted by that. They performed very well. Musicianship was good. Frontman has plenty of charisma and commanding the crowd as best he can there. I enjoyed the jaunty jacket he had on with the lettering. That's nice. Stand out from the crowd. Why not? I think the delivery was pretty solid overall. There's moments in their songs that I think are gold. There's a couple of nice, memorable melodies, but I say for the most part, their songs aren't quite grabby enough. It's not, I was not bored. I enjoyed watching them, but the songs themselves, I don't remember after the gig. It was all kind of samey for the most part. Well done, a lovely sound overall, but I think songwriting is the only thing that's holding them back at the moment. Like, they played a new song which had an amazing groovy opening guitar riff, as I recall, and that got me excited for where their songwriting might take them in future. But they did a very serviceable job of being the first band on of the night. Now, between them and Invent Animate, a different mood was being set by clearly Invent Animate, and what they wanted as their pre-show music. It was very chilled, ambient, sort of electronic, almost sounded like it was kind of AI generated. I don't know if it was or wasn't, but kind of an unusual tone being set to completely cleanse the palate from the band that went on before them, and that was kind of a nice note. And like the bands are doing this increasingly, thinking about what is the atmosphere they're setting before the gig with the music choices, and The Plot and You did this a little bit later as well. Anyway, they came on in all of their whites, and I love the fact that bands are considering their attire these days a bit more. It's not just, right, everyone wear, black with some jeans. Full white outfits, like, we are a band, we are a unit, this is something different, this is something you're going to enjoy as a considered live performance. And it was theatrical, it was beautiful at times, it was devastatingly heavy, there were some fun lighting choices here and there, and it was completely, I overuse this word a little bit, but it was intense. It was really intense, but incredibly well delivered. Each one of the musicians, right, there's 3 musicians with instruments, and then there's the vocalist, all of them absolutely crushed their parts, but not just standing there playing, also gave it a little bit of movement and the rest, which elevates the visual aesthetic of it. But they don't even necessarily need to, because Marcus, the singer, is incredibly visibly energetic as he performs, and captivating, and sort of conjures the crowd with all of his motions, and does an excellent job as well of visually displaying the change in dynamic sonically in the song. When it's hyped, he's hyped and he's going crazy, but he also will take things all the way down to almost curled up like a hedgehog on the stage for the very quiet, somber moments within them. And I love the cohesive nature of that performance with the sound. The sound for them, I thought, was absolutely excellent, and they played a wonderful array of the songs, including, what surprised me was they played their recent song Heavener, the title track that was never on the album Heavener. And when they started playing that, I was like, all right, this is kind of a bit of a softer song, this will be whatever it is. But I forgot actually how much that song becomes epic as it goes on, and in a live setting, I think that song in particular really comes to life. And I think there was even a mosh pit during that song, which I was not expecting, quite a large one too. So that was great. You had massive breakdowns from the likes of False Meridian, Immolation of Night, and it was full force and impressive. But I just loved the conjuring nature of the vocalist and the thought and attention that went into that performance. Also, side note, as a drummer, it was a fucking delight to watch their man on the sticks just killing it. The double kick drum pedal work was so fast and yet precise, and some of the cymbal orchestration was just absolutely delectable. I loved watching their drummer perform. That was amazing. Brody, I believe his name is. I'm bad with names. I tend to remember vocalist names and not drummers. Even though drumming is my main instrument, it is what it is. But they were fucking fantastic. And before the plot knew, I was able to have a very quick chat with him and the guitarist to let them know how much I enjoyed the set, and I'm looking forward to some new material. And they said, yeah, don't worry, it's coming out soon. So that's exciting. Who knows what that's gonna be like. Or just that they're working on it. He didn't say soon. But yes, Invent Animate were absolute quality and a joy to see live, with this serious heaviness and yet also the light, decorative, theatrical elements as well. A really wonderful live show. And then, of course, it was the headliner next of The Plot in You, who I was so intrigued to see live because of the range within their music that I've heard since I discovered them only just about a year ago. So quite late to the party there, really. I heard Left Behind, and that song blew me away. It's just a brilliantly written pop rock song, essentially, but it has emotion and harshness and delivery and a massive chorus, which I adored. But also, they have songs like Don't Look Away, which are insanely fucking heavy, and some of the most raw and devastatingly haunting, aggressive vocals are contained in songs like that The Plot in You put together. But also, there's incredibly soft, delicate, almost ballad-like songs like Feel Nothing. Still has a motive punch within it, but how is that going to land within a live set? How do you knit that together? And they opened very strong with, I love when bands do this, they had the white sheet in front of them and they were sort of silhouetted, backlit behind, which just gets a crowd so hyped. That thought of like, they're there, they're on the stage, but I can't see them, but I know that they're there, I can't wait for this thing to drop. That drops, fucking confetti cannon goes, we're in for a show. This is not just we're gonna stand on stage and play some songs, we're also gonna give you a bit of a spectacle as and when we can. But for the most part, what I really found was impressive was that Landon Tewers, the vocalist, was so concerned, seemingly, about delivering the vocals that you are here to hear as well, perfectly as possible. There were maybe there's definitely one, there might have been two moments throughout the entire set where he's sort of like engaging with the crowd and be like, hey, you sing. But mostly, he is focusing on the mic himself, eyes closed for the most part, just focusing in on getting the voice to deliver the sound the way he wants that to be, whether that is the scream vocals and the intensity of that, or the delicate, melodic, gentle moments as well as of the songs. It was very much a professional vocalist on stage, honed craft, putting everything into giving you the sound experience that he intends for those songs to deliver. And that was quite hypnotizing to watch as he performed all of those songs. And what was mad is they opened with Don't Look Away, which is one of the heaviest songs that they have, or at least that I've heard of theirs, which was a very strong arrival. And a tricky one, I would imagine, for a vocalist, because it is just the harshest of screams. So you're going to have a pretty good warm-up routine before you hit the stage. Because look, at the end of the song, this powerful moment when he sustains this absolute death scream was amazing. It was so humanly intense and connective, the way that the vocals were delivered and the clear attention and focus he was putting into that. And it was just massive. The sound was good overall, really well mixed. You could hear everything you needed to hear in all of the songs, and that was fucking awesome. I was delighted to recognize many songs in their set list of ones that I've heard in the past year, but also the ones that I did not know. What's great about the songwriting of The Plot in You is that you don't necessarily need to have heard a song before when you see them live to enjoy it live, because there's great signposting and transitions between different sections. So every song is captivating, I think, from start to finish. And that carries across live, which is a difficult thing to do. Because normally if you hear a song live for the first time, and if the mix isn't right, then you just hear cymbals and kick drum, and some vocal screaming and then nothing else really to carry it through with the guitar. Sometimes it can be a bit muddy. Not the case of this gig. All the sound I thought was excellently put together. They also played, which I was delighted about, their latest song, Been Here Before, live as part of that set. And I was delighted about that in particular because it's kind of a unique one in its own way. It reminds me a little bit of the story so far. It's got pace of a sort of pop-punk song, but it's got these harsh vocals over the top of it. It's a brilliant combination of sounds and went over tremendously well with the crowd, which is not always going to be the case for a new song if they've not necessarily heard it yet. But that one really works live. That was a delight and a surprise. And the last section of that song, which was a sort of swung, gentle, electronic, very delicate vocal moment section, was done live as well, which was a bit of a surprise, which is wonderful to see. And Landon was doing those high vocals themselves. I really thought they were potentially a female vocal on the record. They were so delicate, but that was done live, which was really, really cool to see. My favorite part of the entire set, I think, was seeing my favorite song live, which was Left Behind. The very first song I heard of theirs, and what got me excited about this band to begin with, was, I think, maybe the second last song that they played, or maybe the third last song. Yeah, it was right at the end. And it was just golden. I enjoyed that so much. And I noticed in the wings before that song and then during the intro of it was Marcus, the vocalist from Invent Animate. Now I thought he was there just to watch his mates play live and see what their live set was, because I think it was the first night of the tour. But after the first chorus, on comes Marcus and picks up a microphone from the stage and it carries through the vocals for the second verse, and that was really fucking cool to see. I love seeing in live moments bands collaborating in that way, giving you something special that you're not going to see on the regular. You're not going to see this on the next tour unless Invent Animate happen to also be on that tour. So moments like that make you feel like this is a lightning bolt moment, this is happening this one point in time in this venue. I mean, they probably did it for the whole tour, but for this tour, this is what you can expect from this thing. I thought that was awesome. Really cool. Their voices went really well together. That was a wonderful moment. And the song fucking slapped. So it was a joy to watch that one live in the Electric Ballroom. Then they finished off with their most popular song, which makes total sense, in Feel Nothing, which was, I think, like some big hit on TikTok and the rest. But that was a very popular song, and that, blew the roof off. I mean, people were very excited to see that. That had a lot of camera phones coming up to film that song in particular. Really amazing show from start to finish. Incredibly professional, perfect sound, perfect execution of the vocalists from Landon Tours, and a wonderful knit, selection of songs that were both heavy and delicate and emotive as well. Reminded me of Bad Omens a little bit in just how massive the sound and delivery was, and the range and songwriting delivery that they could put together as well. So, really cool to see a sold-out, large-ish venue in Camden with a couple of fucking madly heavy artists such as The Plot and You and Invent Animate, but also have dynamic variety within their songs and their live performances for the delicate moments as well. I love the fact that that kind of music, which I personally connect to a lot, is having its moment and on the up. And to be honest, that venue was already too small for them. The fact they sold it out already indicates that. But onwards and upwards for The Plot and You. They're doing just fine, and they are only going from strength to strength. And it was an absolute joy to see them and Invent Animate on the same stage. Now, if you enjoyed this and you want to see more things like this in future, let YouTube know by subscribing to the channel. I do live gig reviews and festival reviews, so there'll be more of those in future as well. I also review the latest releases from the rock universe as well, and I have a podcast where I interview artists and other professionals in the rock music industry. So thank you for watching this. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and hopefully I'll see you again in another video very soon.